Welcome back. Today, December 1st, is World AIDS Day, an international day dedicated to raising awareness and providing education on AIDS prevention and control. Now, here in the DMV, Saving Our Sisters, a signature service of Sisters for Sister, they will be hosting a Rock the Arts event in Landover, Maryland to commemorate World AIDS Day. Joining us to tell us all about it, we have Maggie Lewis Alexander, the volunteer director of Sister for Sisters, Inc.'s Saving Our Sisters program. And we'd like to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate this opportunity.
And it's such an important message to spread on World AIDS Day. What do you want people watching in the DMV to know about the work you're doing?
Okay, Sisters for Sisters, Inc. is a community-based organization. We work in Prince George's County. However, our work spreads throughout the DMV, to be honest, because of our message. We work with domestic violence victims, but today we're stepping back from that, even though there is an intersection with domestic violence in HIV/AIDS transmission. Our message today to come out, get tested, but have some fun. We are honoring Murray Bowman as well as Mother June Taylor. They both transitioned and were very close members and great help within our organization. So we would like for you to come out and honor them today, have a little fun, get tested, have a meal, and even win $100. We're having a poetry slam, and all you young folks know, they know about this poetry slam. Come out, test your skills in the arts, and do a little shopping. We have a live painting session with Lamario Chaz. We also have Daryl Johnson from Discorious Design. So we have a lot going on, and it's going to be very enjoyable, very educational as well.
And it's 1 to 4 today at the Ketland Community Center, located 2413 Pinebrook Avenue in Landover, Maryland. Obviously, as you mentioned, a great community event filled with people from the community. The goal is to get people on World AIDS Day to know their status, get out and get tested, be aware, take preventative measures, and I'm sure you can get educational pamphlets out there as well.
Yes, we have all that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. And aside from World AIDS Day, your organization does so much good work in the community.
Yes, we do. Domestic violence. We are a 501c3 organization, which means we are supported through donations and grants. So we are always looking for sponsors and donations. We help women. We have a lot of women who call who are part of, who have been affected by domestic violence. We house them. We send them to hotels. We give them information. We give them clothes. So support Sisters for Sisters. Support all of your community organizations. We're the ones who are really out there doing the work and making a difference.
Well, you absolutely are making a difference in our community, and we thank you for coming in and talking with us about your organization as well as World AIDS Day and the importance of getting tested and knowing your status. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, beautiful Maggie. How are you? Unmute yourself. We're just grateful for you all being a part of this couch conversation. My name is Carolyn White Washington, founder and executive director of Sisters for Sisters, Inc. I tell you what, this is going to be an awesome couch conversation. I thank God for all of you that are attending. Please excuse me, you can't see my brilliant red that I'm rocking today, but I'll be on shortly. I want to thank you all. I want to welcome you on behalf of Sisters for Sisters Incorporated. And we would like to begin with prayer. Reverend Dana, we love you. You have always been right there in the forefront of this entire situation. They calling it a pandemic now, but you have been on the front line, and we're just so happy to have you to lead us in prayer as we open on today's National Black HIV/AIDS Day. Thank you and welcome to lead us in prayer this morning. Reverend Dana.
Lord God, you who are our mother and father, we give you thanks and praise for this day and this opportunity to breathe, move, and have our being in you, through you. We thank you for all that you've done, all that you're doing right now, and all that you will do. We thank you for your faithfulness. We thank you for the blessing that you have placed on each one of us to not only survive, but to thrive. We thank you for this day, this opportunity to relax and share amongst one another what we can do to alleviate or to diminish and destroy, decease this transmission of HIV infection throughout the world and in our community in particular. Again, we thank you for all that you've done. We thank you for what you're doing right now and all that you will do. We thank you for being faithful. Help us to be faithful. We yield that thy will be done. Ashe. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Dana. And I want to welcome everyone here today that has come to join us to just have a pretty much a down-to-earth discussion on how we as a community can really begin to mobilize and stop the spread of AIDS. There's a new initiative out now, which is the A Plan for America. It's probably been in effect for a couple of years now, but recently there has been a new, much needed push to get more funds out to the communities, to get more information out to the communities, and just to begin to eradicate this horrible disease. As usual, PG, Montgomery County, and I'm mentioning Cobb County in Atlanta because we are supposed to have someone join us from Atlanta, are considered priorities in this new effort to stop the spread of AIDS. Most of the AIDS infections here are in DC, PG County, San Juan, and Puerto Rico. And let's not miss that point. All those areas contain and house people of color. Once again, we are being slaughtered, just like pushed aside between HIV, between this pandemic, and all the other things that we were going through prior to this. So we must begin to work together, not only on this initiative, stopping the spread of AIDS. I mean, like grassroots. We have people who are out there, who have organizations, but they can't really be effective unless we begin to volunteer with these organizations, unless we begin to spread the word and protect ourselves. And just remember that God is love. He wants us to love each other. And he does not desire for us to have all these illnesses. But we must begin to work together to eradicate them. So we have Sharon Coker, we have Wes Pinkney, it's a long-term friend. We have Reverend Dana, we have Angela Vick. We have like 2 survivors on this doing this couch conversation today, and I am so happy for that. We're going to have a couple of giveaways. Sister Carolyn, she is going to come in every time there's a giveaway and let us know. I have a couple of scarves that I will be giving away to folks. And I'm going to say this now. Please write this email address down. mmagBLOS@AOL.com. Winners, email me your address. And it is my responsibility to get your prizes out. And if I don't, I guess I'm the one that you're going to have to come after. Okay? So without further ado, we're going to start with a little question and answer period. And this particular question is directed to Sharon Coker. She's going to tell us about herself and her organization. Sharon, my question to you is, are you able to treat people rapidly and effectively in order to reach viral suppression? And if not, what barriers are presenting this?
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Maggie, so much for inviting me to your table. And I'm so glad we're going to have this honest conversation. SLK Health Services, we've been in existence for about 2.5 years now, and we do provide rapid HIV tests. We're open 7 days a week. So a person who comes in our office, if they test positive, preliminary positive for HIV, we at this time can and will connect you to an agency or a doctor who can get you started on your medication. Whether you have insurance or not, we can get you connected right away. So there's no such thing as you find out and then you got to wait. But the thing is, we're not talking as a community to each other. We're talking in silos. It's great to have this talk here, but where does it go once it leaves this couch? Are we talking to the community? Are we having those hard conversations? We could talk about anything else and do everything else. But when it comes to our sexual health, everyone turns blind eye and said, that's not me. You're correct. Prince George's County has the highest rate in the state of Maryland, beside DC, Washington, DC, and a neighboring county, Montgomery County. And we were one of 44 jurisdictions in the country that had the highest rate of HIV new infections for the country in 2020. But because of this pandemic, COVID, things have shifted. But it does not negate, it does not erase the fact that we still have an HIV epidemic happening now. And so with that being said, it's important that small organizations, community-based organizations have the ability, have the resources, have the support, have the financial support to go out and talk to anyone and everyone, because everyone is not accustomed to Zoom. People want to touch, people want to hug. People want to know that they can physically talk to someone and not hear a voice and wonder if you got them on mute or not, and really are really engaged in conversation of wanting really to help them. And so we are fortunate enough that we keep our doors open. We keep, and I say that a lot of people said 7 days, absolutely, because we can't pick and choose bank hours for a person who's going through a crisis. Everything doesn't happen between 9 to 5. And so we need to make ourselves available, because history shows us a lot of things happen on the weekend. A lot of things happens after 6 o'clock in the evening. And so organizations like Carol, the Sisters for Sisters, you all have made yourselves available round the clock to meet the person's needs. And so SOK, along with other agencies in the county, in the country, you know, we're trying, but it takes support. It takes financial support. It takes people who are willing to meet people where they are, not judge them because of their discomfort, but truly meet people where they are and have that heartfelt conversations and lead them to the resources they need. And so I didn't know you were giving away prize today, but actually I will donate a blanket. And Carol, I'll get this to you today before I leave the office as one of the giveaways, because we realize people that we're trying to touch in the community, they're homeless. Some are couch surfers, and they only have what's on their back. So if they have to spend the night wrapped around a tree, a bus stop, behind somebody's trash can in the shopping center, we want to make sure they can at least cover themselves for that day. Thank you.
Okay. So Sharon, do you find, I guess, the pandemic is one of the barriers that you're facing, or the lack of volunteers?
I'm sorry. Actually,
I don't know who is it. I don't think that's me.
it's actually my phone. I'm trying to move it out the way. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. So for this pandemic, we did not close our doors. And when people find out our commitment, our dedication community, we're finding more people wanting to help. So for us, it's been a good thing that the pandemic happened, because really people are able to see the heart of SOK. We're here for the community. And so we've got volunteers. In fact, we've got more student volunteers lately because they've got a lot of time in their hands. They've got a lot of pent-up energy and they don't know where to direct it. And a lot of times when you got this energy, you find yourself in peculiar situations that you don't want to talk to mom and dad about. And so for us, this pandemic has taken us to another level, has brought in more opportunities. And so for me, it's just wearing a mask every day. That's the only difference I see. Less traffic on the road. I may be spending less money because I have nowhere to go other than to the office. But it's been a blessing. You know, I think for me, on religious type, God has removed the walls of the churches. And so if you say you're for the community, he's removed all things that said, okay, I would, but I could, but there's no excuse now. Everything is out in the open. He snatched that blanket up. He's revealed things. So for me, what is your next step? Where does your giving go to? How are you going to help the next person? How are you going to get your next blessing? Because you bless someone, the blessings come back to you. You reach out to someone, you pull the next person up, something's there for you. It may be your journey, by another person. So no, we're in a very good position right now, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that people are trusting us. Okay, as a new organization, I'm grateful that doors are opening. I'm grateful that finally there is something that happened to make people see that HIV is alive. And with so many years of work committed, research done, it is still in the same position it was 30 years ago. So we've got to change the narrative. I'm glad there's got an end of epidemic, HIV epidemic across the country, but we've got to do more work because the research has caught up. It's the people believing and trusting that's still behind. So this is a great time right now where we can truly change the narrative and get people on board to say, hey, you know, we're here by product of sex. That's not going to change. So let's talk about it and let's be honest about it.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't need to talk about sex anymore. But what I do want to say, I was sitting here thinking that, you know, and I was thinking and also looking at the statistics. And the same counties, cities, colors of people is still the same. I started working with my dear friend, Sister Reverend Dana, what was about 20 some years ago, because Erica, she was about 3. She's 23 now. I worked with Reverend Dana at the Acoma Project at Union Temple. That's where I first started. And I started my work with her and joined Union Temple because they had an AIDS ministry. And because I have not, you know, lived as the angel that I am now, which Wesley knows, I could have been on that receiving end for real. I've been homeless. I'm a former addict, crackhead, alcoholic, you know, and everything that comes with that, I did. But I'm blessed to be here, pretty much in good health, you know, could lose some pounds, get that blood pressure, but otherwise, you know, so I know that God did not just rescue me to cook, work at law firms or whatever, you know, he rescued me in fairly good health, you know, to help others. And with that, you know, and I want to bring in Reverend Dana because, you know, looking at the behavior, you know, how does the behavior and how does behavior affect your chances perhaps of contacting AIDS, even COVID, and how faith can keep you, you know, faith was a lot. It did a lot. It's through Union Temple and the practices and the teachings of Willie Wilson that really taught me who I really am. You know, I grew up in a church. When I looked up front, you know, there was a white Jesus Christ. So I grew up in that era, and you never know how those teachings affect you. So just how our faith, how our teachings, how our behavior, you know, can kind of lead us to paths that will kind of like get us infected. So Reverend Dana, and if Tony Williams, if you're on, she has a mentoring program, if you all can chime in. But yeah, so Reverend Dana, how does behavior affect transmission, and what messaging can be taught to change that dynamic? Okay, you all need to unmute Reverend Dana.
Reverend Dana, can you unmute yourself for us?
Okay,
Thank you so much.
I apologize. The first thing that comes to my mind is that actually, I know I'm going to talk about the church in just a moment, but home is where our story begins. And I can say that I am blessed to have had a mother that from the time I entered or was about to enter into puberty was talking to me. Prior to, she was watching out for me and has watched out for me the whole time she was on the planet. But Mama shared with me about my human sexuality. She was very frank. She wanted to make sure that before I started administrating and the bus started coming in, that I knew who I was as a female child and what that could entail, or what I could encounter, and how I needed to take care of myself. We had frank conversations. And I was determined that as a minister in ministry, coming in my mid-20s, that I was going to pass on some of the things that Mama taught me. My first assignment was in youth ministry. And so I had conversations with youth, and I'm still having conversations with youth today. Charity begins at home. I had to make sure that my children and my nieces and nephews knew what they needed to know. They were equipped. And when I think about the majority of the children that I have ministered to over the years, or the youth, they were missing that component. And when it came to time to go to church of all places that should have been a refuge and dealing with the whole person, rarely talked about human sexuality, and rarely even provided the opportunity for people to just talk about what they have been experiencing in life as far as their challenges are concerned. So in ministry, I was determined to make sure that people had an opportunity to share and to be educated about just life in general, and the difference between love and sex. And a lot of people are engaging in behaviors that put them at risk for HIV infection because they are looking for love. So ACOMA means love, and we may want to make sure that love was out front. Everybody needs it. And so we can provide it. We can provide it if we just let go and let God and make opportunities for people to receive it. Love is a balm, and it educates and it heals. A good loving teaches you how to love. And so there's this link between love and sex. A lot of people who are involved in sexual acts, I believe, are really looking for love. And they are associating the two as the same, one and the same, and it is not so. And so we, as a African-centered people, Black lives, our experience has not been a lovely experience for the most part. We are still emotionally looking for love. I'm generalizing, I know, and there are individuals who have received that early in life. As I said, that's my testimony. And so I wanted, like I said, provide an opportunity for people to have that. So we have made sure that our HIV/AIDS education, or our human sexuality education, also has a strong component that deals with people in their to raise their level of self-love, and to raise their level of love for others, and what love is really all about. And I'm with you today, Maggie, in terms of the sex deficit, because sex is not as important to me as it once was. It's when people have to know that when they get to, I'm 61, I confess, that's why it's not as important. I'm not saying that sex is not important, but love is more important when you know who you really are and what you really need to live, to thrive, and go, to go forward in life. But if sex is all you know, sex is all you know. And like I said, we provided opportunities within the walls of the church. But now the walls of the church are removed, but still we are responsible. So there is no longer a physical ACOMA project at Union Temple, but the message is the same, and the people still need the message. So I give thanks and praise to God for this opportunity to use this platform. And we still have our support groups on this platform, and we have our one-on-ones on this platform, and FaceTime, and whatever we can use, all the resources that we can use. And I thank God for my work with Sisters for Sisters that continues to inspire me to do what needs to be done as it relates to just loving my sisters, period, and giving all that I can to that work and the focus on HIV and AIDS.
So how do you think messaging can be taught to make people aware of the difference between sex and love?
Well, I have a daughter who is 28 years old, and as I said, I raised her the same way my mama raised me, with straight talk. That's what I call it. And so one of the interventions that we use now, we have evolved the Acoma Project proper to Acoma Intuezo, which means love on another level. And my daughter, when she was a teenager, she said to me, Mama, my friends, they need what we have. They need that kind of relationship where they can talk. So we have promoted an intergenerational conversation. When I was looking at the women here gathered and the brother, I see an intergenerational kind of a setting, which is very important, so that you have an opportunity to pass wisdom and experiences on from one generation to the next, so we can actually educate and inspire one another. I am not too old to learn from my daughter or children. We have to be humble, and we create an environment that is humble so that we can share and just stay in touch with what's going on, be an ear to listen and to a hand that guides, because there's just so much that's not talked about, that needs to be talked about. People got pent up emotions, as I said before, but just having the education that's required, knowing how to prevent HIV and AIDS, this knowing how to deal with your the changes in your body, your changes in your emotions, and the changes don't just begin and end. We're still in our latter years, still going through changes as far as the body is concerned, and you need somebody to talk about those things, all the emotions that you're feeling. And so we can create those one-on-one and still group settings. We've got breakout rooms and all of that stuff that we have at our disposal right now. So we really need to take advantage of the opportunities to talk. One of the things that we're doing for the month of February is talking about healing loving feelings. And a lot of people try to heal their loving feelings through sex, and it really does not work. Sex does not satisfy your need for love. And so we can't get that confused, but sex will get you a sexually transmitted infection. So we talk about practicing safer sex, of course, and we talk about just what your life experiences have been that have put you at a greater risk for HIV infection. So you get to talk about the negative experiences, you get to talk about the trauma, you get to talk about the lack of love, and you get to talk about what love really is. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. I really appreciate that. Now, so you are still operating. Can you please share that information so that we can all, come on to your website or to your, and join your programs?
Sure, I'll put the website in the chat box if that's okay, and the Straight Talk information and my information if you want to get in touch with me, so that we can share with you when we're actually having our sessions, so that they are open to, you can refer people into participating in the programs.
Okay. So that was really great, Reverend Dana. We truly appreciate you always showing up I want to say a special hello now to my church members who may eventually become ambassadors because they have the heart, but they don't have the platform to do what they want to do as it relates to HIV/AIDS. So I'm trying to recruit them to become part of Sisters for Sisters. So we shall see what happens. You know, if you want to do the work, you got to come somewhere where the work is being done. That's all I have to say. And where you will be supported and loved, and your emails will be answered. Now, we are blessed to also have two survivors on, Angela Vick and Wesley Pinkley. Wesley and I went to high school together. Wesley and I partied together. Wesley and I lost friends to HIV/AIDS, many, many, many over the years. Angela Vick always supports Sisters for Sisters. She is a survivor, and I'm gonna stop calling them survivors. Maybe thrivers are better. So we're going to talk a little bit now about their experiences with the treatment, with their counselors, or just how it is for you. Do you think there are some changes that can be made? Do you think that messaging needs to be different to reach like younger people? I did have an organization that focused on young folks, but once the day was changed, they couldn't join us. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting them on before, because, you know, it's hard to find. I was so overjoyed when I learned there was an organization that dealt with youth only. So Angie and Wes, you all, let's join the conversation. You know, just how has your experience been as it relates to treatment? You know, what improvements do you see? What messaging, what messaging do you think will resonate in this the 20th century, 21st century? Because as I said, it seems like numbers, statistics, they're not really changing for us. You know, so whoever wants to go first, go first.
I would say that, first of all, hello everyone. I'm Angie. I would say right now and I was just listening at her speak on, the Reverend speak on, you know, the statistics. Well, I'm down here in Durham, North Carolina. Let me stop and introduce myself. My name is Angie Vick. I am from Washington, D.C., and I recently moved from Fort Washington, Maryland to Durham, North Carolina. I think 2013 or 14. But prior to all of that, I got tested at a church, my church, Community of Hope, in Temple Hill, and me and my two sons, me and one of my sons came up positive from the test that was being done. This was back in 2006. And I just remember, you know, he was on his way to be a football player down here at Central NCCU. And I just remember just praying to God and asking God, you know, like, I know I've been through everything, you know, I've been in the streets as well, sister, you know, the crack era, the drinking, the partying, everything. And I always said, why would I take a test? If I have it, let me just go down, not knowing about it, until that encounter that I had. And when we went, after praying to God, you know, to just let me have it, you know, not let my son have anything, because he was too young. He was 17. He was a football jock. And, you know, that I just thought that back then that was too much for anyone. It was a lot for me. So I definitely didn't want that for him. And we went and went to Johns Hopkins and got tested. And, you know, the guy came back and said, I have good news and bad news. And he said, the good news is your son is negative, but the bad news is that you're positive. And I just jumped for joy. I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you. Because my son is not. And in my prayers that week. I was just bargaining with God with everything. I was like, God, look, if you let him come back, nigga, I will go down North Carolina where he's going to school with all those kids. I would just tell everybody. I would join as many groups as I could, and I would just educate myself to know the information and not the speculations. I could stop the stigmatization of this disease that I knew nothing about. So in my quest of trying to find and figure everything out, I had went on World AIDS Day to this event. I never knew what it was. My friend Cherie asked me to go out with her. So we went out and we in there partying, and I still never knew where I was at. I was at a Sisters for Sisters World AIDS Day event. But I was just having fun eating. They had a modeling show and it was just going on. We had the line there. It was good. So then I heard somebody was saying something about HIV and AIDS. I'm like, huh? I'm like, well, how they know about me? You know, because I had not really told anybody. So I just sat and listened, and then I was like, wow. So then right at the end, I was sitting all the way in the back. After I found out where I was at, I sat all the way in the back, and I listened at Sister Carolyn, and she was closing out, and she was like, well, does anybody have anything to say, last minute things, you know, so like in the wedding thing. And I was like, God, I'm gonna go. God's pushing me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. I was scared. I was petrified. How in the world am I gonna get up here and tell my story about me being positive to all these people that I don't know, and I don't even know what this is about? But she said it, and she's getting ready to leave. And I just stood up. I said, excuse me, can I please say something? And from there, I have truly been trying my best to give it my all as far as getting educated and sharing and joining and doing. And, you know, as far as HIV and AIDS is concerned. And I got my first opening from Sisters for Sisters. So, you know, and I always wanted to be in an organization. And I just thank y'all for the microphone. Let's put it like that, the microphone, because I'm down here. And let me tell you, you be careful what you ask God for, because I ended up through a domestic violence thing. Thank you again, Carolyn. And I came to Central and I spoke to those kids, and I've done it for every year. This is my first time virtual doing it. And I've joined this little group. They got Project Safe. I've joined the UNC Cure Cab down here. I've joined so many different things. And all of those are just titles. But I'm here to say that right now in 2021, it's still a stigmatization as far as HIV and AIDS. And I was really shocked, Reverend, to hear that DC and Maryland has the highest rate like that. And with this COVID, we've been booed up for going on 2 years now. So everybody booed up. They might get booed. That's why it's spreading. It's steadily spreading, but no one is thinking about HIV and AIDS right now. They're only focused on COVID and dying, but you need to focus on HIV and AIDS and dying. And until we keep on pushing this out there, especially to our youth now, because they spend a lot of time alone. People lonely. People gonna get booed up with whoever, Johnny Boo or Susie Q or whoever, you know, to fill that void. And we need to really, and I still need to push harder. And I also work, and I'm glad you had that blanket, because I work with the homeless out here too. And like in the shelter at night, you could see them. I have to count them. So I'm like counting 4 feet at one bunk. I'm at one little mat. I'm like, well, everybody needs love. So you see these homeless people, they're not taking care of themselves. And yet they're booed up, sneak whatever they doing down there. I mean, it's still an epidemic. And I just don't want people to sleep on not putting that still on the front the front force of, you know, a cure. And I'm with the researchers, and they supposed to find cures. That's why, you know, and I'm not gonna go too deep because we all need to, if this is your heart, this is your passion, continue. Don't let COVID scare you. Don't let anything scare you to stop you from helping, especially our youth. And I thank y'all. Sorry, I'm long-winded. Can I go to sleep now, Maggie?
Angie, I forgot, and I really appreciate you coming on. She works at night, and I so appreciate her for coming on here. And I didn't, you know, for some reason.
No, I'm gonna stay home. I'm up.
Okay, being booed up and, you know, homeless, we fail to even think about how they're being educated, if they're being educated, because you have so many homeless who do not even come in to the shelters, you know, that they are out in the street. And as you're saying, you know, just avoiding to be being loneliness. So how many of them could be positive that we don't even know about?
Everybody, you know, positive COVID and positive for HIV.
Well, I keep it safe because this is my boo right here. Angie kept talking about being booed up. You know, Tucker, the king of swing. Can y'all see him?
All righty.
Yeah, the Tucker, young man. So I'm all right. So I can't wait till I can go see him.
All right.
Hey. Angie, you know, we
got to get rid of this COVID.
Angie, we love you so much, and I appreciate you. It's funny you should say that because right now we have been downtown all morning long, passing out to our homeless population hats, gloves,
yes,
scarves.
Thank you.
All morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, and please, you know, and please excuse me, y'all, for the Christmas backdrop. We've been trying to change it. But nonetheless, the reality is our heart is for all men and women and teens. And so this was just our way. And then we served lunch today. But Angie, tell us some of the work you've been doing since you've been in beautiful North Carolina, because you've been doing a lot. You're on several boards.
What you said, beautiful North Carolina.
You know, I'm from Fayetteville, so I am biased for North Carolina.
I know
you're doing really some incredible work.
Well, yes, to God be the glory, because man, I look sometimes. I'm in quite a few boards. Mm-hmm. And I never knew what boards were until, you know, because I could do this thing, HIV, homeless on the street. I know it like the back of my hand, but being in there with them, you know how they say we are they or them. I'm in there with them and I'm learning about so much. And I was serving on the homeless advisory board for the city of Durham. I moved up from the secretary to the co-chair now. I guess I'm gonna be I don't do titles. That's the whole thing. But I'm in a lot, and I'm in with this researchers at UNC Cure-CAB under Dr. David Nagolis, and what they have been doing for the last 5 years when I joined this, they have been mount different scientists and doctors throughout the U.S. to find a cure for HIV and AIDS. So that's been going on. I've been working with, like I said, at NCCU with the kids from there. And a lot of them now have graduated. One of them is a professor, and they are giving back, and they stayed in that field from Project Safe, you know, just sharing. I speak with any and everybody. And now that, you know, with the homeless, I do a whole lot with that down here. It's just God has me spread out and not in just one particular thing, because I love being able to help. And HIV and AIDS and homelessness are just, you know, and I've always been, you know, near and dear for kids, 2 kids being a survivor from being molested at a young age. You know, after you meet people where they are, you can really, really get to share information with them. So like now that I'm at the shelter, I've been here 5 years. I'm just able to connect with the people, the lovely people of the Bull City, Miss Carolyn. And, I could approach them and tell them, I'm like, look, what you think about HIV? What you think about, contracting it? Just different questions I be asking. Then, I just move in with the kill. Here goes this. You want to get tested. And I had a couple of guys down at the shelter. They would call me and say, hey, Miss Angie, they call me Angel here. Miss Angel, do you think you could set me up with going to get tested? And I'm like, wow, that's good. So, once you meet people and down here, these organizations, sorry, I don't mean to be biased or anything, but the organizations I'm with NCAN and the UNC, it's a lot of, I guess back in the day was more for gay men or gay white men. And I sit with a lot of guys. I like to see some guys, some heterosexuals come out and after they be able to get past their masculinity or whatever they want to call it, because they don't want to come out first of all and say like this is this, but you're bringing it, a lot of you, from the jail, sir, thank you, and you're passing it on to our sisters, yes, thank you, and then it just goes on and on, and to see this, it's just like a revolving door. Now we got COVID. Kidding me. So how are we on top of trying to get everybody to stop the stigma from the HIV and AIDS? Now we got this COVID and people not budging down through this way because they know about that Tuskegee thing. So it's hard. And you know how it is down south. They be like, you tell an older person, a seasoned person, you have diabetes. Oh, I got the sugar. Oh, Lord, how you gonna tell a person? And I'm in these meetings and I never seen so many elderly people that were HIV positive for I think I was the youngest one. And I was then, and they were older people, 60, 70, 80. I was like, wow. And how do you go and tell somebody after Mr. Johnny, he coming out here, he the pimp daddy at the nursing home, you know what I'm saying? So on the first of the month, he got all the money. So where he going? To the street, to the strip, spend his money, get all his, whatever he gonna get with that Viagra or whatever he needs to keep him up and happy with the fake love, as you say, Reverend. And then he's bringing it back to the nursing home. You got Miss Betty on the first floor, Miss Lucy on the second, and he creeping all up on the third for Miss Susie Lou. So then this is how this is spreading. And then older people get that, and you come to an older person like that and say, you're HIV positive. They like, what? And it's still spreading. Or with the younger generation, it's spreading, and we have to stop it. We can do this. Right now is a good time to really stop it with this COVID, because people would rather take an HIV test right now than take a COVID test. So think about it. We can start pushing that thing right now. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with y'all. Just tell me what to do. I'm down here. It's different here than there. I wish I could be doing all of this work there, but God said this is where he needs me at. So I'm stuck.
Angie, next year will have your own organization.
I'm working on that for the homeless. I don't like it, the way they're treated. I'm working on that.
Okay.
About 5 years.
So, Sister Carolyn, before we bring Wesley on, do you want to do giveaways?
I would love to. I don't have, you wanted me to pick the names, right? From those that have been participating or signed up. Am I correct?
Yeah, however you want to do it.
Okay. Yeah, we're not quite ready for that yet. We're going to pull the names together, and then we'll get our little hat and we'll pick. I wish I had one of those fly hats you have over there, Maggie.
I'm
She
bringing
stay
one.
with the hats.
Oh, yeah, she is rocking these hats these
Stay
days.
with the hats.
This wouldn't be
Oh,
Couch
she-
Conversations if I didn't put the hat on.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I-
It's
rocking
had
the
to
hat.
find
the
my
brand. It's the brand.
I
It's
had to
the
go
brand.
find my little red ribbon.
I see you,
Wesley, we
girl,
just had
rocking
Tony
it. We
Williams
miss you,
join
Angie.
us.
I'm so.
Okay,
Hi,
ladies.
Tony. Glad to have you, Reverend Dane, and you are awesome as well. Everybody's just been outstanding. I'm just gonna pull back. We're gonna get these names together for some of these great door prizes. Angie, we
Wesley,
love you down
Thank you. I love y'all too,
in North
sisters.
Carolina.
Wesley, we just had Tony Williams join us, and I know that she doesn't have long because they're doing a drive-by for her mom's birthday in
Oh,
Louisiana, New Orleans, the place that I love. So let's bring on Tony. She can talk about her organization and kind of go in as follow up with Reverend Dana is how does behavior, affect transmission? What messaging can be taught, to change this dynamic? And of course, her organization does great work. She's another Union Temple. She's worked with youth, so she's going to be very instrumental in getting us some information today as to how we can target our community, what she does, and also will give us information about her organization. I just love her. I love her life. If I was younger, it'd be me and Tucker for sure.
Hello, ladies. Hello, queens. My name is Tony Williams. Actually, I am still in Atlanta, Maggie. I did not make it to Louisiana because we had to be quarantined because my fiance tested positive for COVID.
Okay,
So
we're going to keep you all in prayer for sure.
Thank you so much. We're doing fine. Just how to get through it, but we're doing okay. So my organization, of course, I am originally from Louisiana, but I spent about 30 plus years in Washington, D.C., in which I feel like that was the moment in which I received my purpose, actual enrichment about who I am as a woman. And from that information, what I've done is I've relocated to Atlanta. It's been about a year. And I started my business here because I feel like down south, a lot of our girls are missing the opportunities that some of the girls up north are getting. So what I did was I started an organization called She, Her, Me. And it's a mentoring organization in which I pour into the lives of young girls. So the mentoring organization comes in two parts. It's either one-to-one mentoring, because all girls don't do well in group settings, or it is group settings where it's a rites of passage program. And the rites of passage program is a 2-year program. It's kind of like Union Temple's program. It's a 2-year program in which the girls receive valuable information about womanhood and how to journey through it with assistance of an adult. At the end of the 2-year program, the girls are taken to Ghana, West Africa. I've been doing a lot of work in Ghana and actually adopted a school there. So I've been going every other year to support that effort. So my program, my business here is fairly new. I have connected with a couple of schools and a couple of businesses that are putting me in touch with young girls that may need my services. So, when Maggie invited me to this couch session, I had not thought about the HIV epidemic and how it may even be targeting or affecting my group, honestly. So I am actually thankful for the Reach Across so that I can make sure that I'm informed so that I can inform those who cross my path and whomever I touch.
Now, Tony, are you in Cobb County?
I am in Henry County. My house is being built in Henry County, in Hampton. My fiance's home is in Jonesboro. So I'll be in that whole area. I'll be in, it's not far apart. It's kind of like the DMV. So, the counties are not that far apart, but Cobb, no, I'm not in Cobb.
Okay, because the reason why I asked is there is, of course, there's always an initiative to eradicate AIDS in our community. But the reason why I mentioned Cobb, because Cobb County is also one of the targeted counties in Atlanta because of the high rate of HIV infections.
Wow.
So just in your work with young ladies and young girls, how do you see messaging being constructed?
Well, I think that it's important that someone has to carry the torch, right? So once I'm informed, my plan is to do work with, like I said, my individual and group, but I also will work with the high schools. So if they allow me to come in and kind of do a presentation or a talk about it, I'm willing to do that. I just want to be able to partner with as many entities as possible, so that they're informed, because I don't know that anyone is talking about HIV and AIDS in that community. I just
Really?
honestly, even when I've gone to schools, I have not heard anyone talking about it. And they may deal with it based on, like you said, where it's hitting. You know
But
what I
I
mean?
don't think they do sex education in schools anymore. They took that out. They took that out like they took the Bible. So if you're not able to talk about it in school, I mean, I guess it's a distance thing from passing out that information, and that's the information that we need to pass along to kids. And I commend you on what you're doing in Atlanta. And
Thank you.
Cobb is. I used to live in Atlanta, right up the next county, and on county line from Jonesboro, and Atlanta is, man, they're off the chart. They really are. That's all I can say. And anything that you're doing for that younger generation, I commend you.
Thank you. So I think what happens is they don't talk about it in school, but if you're a contractor or you're coming in to provide a service, they will allow it. So
Really?
that's how you have to come in. You have to come in like you're providing a service. It's not the school doing it. They'll say that a contractor is coming in to provide the service, and that's the best way to do it. Because then the school is not held in a liability. When you do it as a contractor, a form has to be, even in my program, when we do sex education, a form has to be signed by the parents, because some of my girls may be 11 and 12. My thing is, once you start your cycle, we need to have the conversation actually before that. Before that. But I have to get parental consent, because all parents are not on board to have the conversation that early. So once I get the parental consent, then the door is open for me.
Yeah.
Reverend Dana.
Hello, Tony.
Hi.
Good to see you.
You too.
I wanted to share that Acoma Intueso Ministries works with, in conjunction with the Fort Washington Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, in which I am a member. And we have gone into schools in Prince George's County, and primarily I have had the opportunity to go 2 years in a row. Not the last 2018 and 2019, couldn't go in 2020 because of COVID. But we have an agreement with the school. So we are, the children have had their parents sign off on, consent so that they could participate. And we go in, and I support it at Henry Wise. We do co-ed groups. Mm-hmm. And at Surrattsville High, we do girls only groups. Mm-hmm. And it has been a very rewarding experience. Can't wait to get back to that. Actually need to see how we can get around at that and work with it on another level as far as dealing with COVID. And I'm also affiliated, I'm an associate pastor at Imani Temple, African American Catholic congregation at the national headquarters, or international headquarters, I should say, in Suitland, Maryland. And we are in the process of adopting a middle school that is right across the parking lot from us. So, because it needs to start at middle school, yes, at the very least. It needs to start in the home, as I said in my beginning remarks, but beyond that, in middle school. So we're going to move forward on establishing that connection as well. And we want to address all the needs. So we don't just focus on HIV prevention and treatment, but that's a part of, we make sure they get the loving care that they need as well. And so that's where the nurturing comes in, and the, like I said, the intergenerational conversations and a rites of passage program.
And I see that with Tony's work, and from what I've seen firsthand, is that the way that it connects to HIV prevention is making young ladies and young men feel better about themselves, giving them a guide, you know, giving them better life skills. And I think with that she's going to be just great. And once, you know, you get that, you know, that any HIV, you can always call someone in, but it's very important from the get-go is to feel good about yourself. And that's definitely where you are.
I think the big part for me, what I can do as part of my program, my Rites of Passage, every group that comes in, they have a platform, and the platform is their opportunity to learn, receive the data, and then become the advocates for that particular topic. So I can definitely use it in my Rites of Passage, so that, because for me, when the girls find out the information for themselves, it's not like somebody telling them. They go out, they find the information, they attend programs where they get more information, they talk to their student bodies, their peers, to get more information. And at that point, they understand it from a different perspective, because it's not like mama telling me that this is something. I know it for myself. So that's one of the ways that I ensure that the girls understand and they take hold of the information, is that they have to figure it out themselves. I'm just there to guide and walk them through it. You know what I mean? So I can definitely use that that way of kind of informing them, so that it's a platform, you know, because we've done things like human trafficking. We've done things like sex under 12, and we've done things like molestation in the home as platforms. So it's not difficult for me to utilize that as a platform.
Great.
That's
And
good.
anything you need from us, we are all there. That's one of the reasons for this, is to see how we can pretty much help each other.
Yeah, any resources that you know of in this area, because I need to kind of sharpen myself up on it as well, because a child will let me know if I give the wrong information.
Okay, well, I would definitely do some research and send you a bunch of stuff.
Okay,
And I'll send you some stuff, Tony, because I'm also in PWN, and I know PWN and Sisters Love, they have a lot of some great organizations in Atlanta as well.
Okay.
And please feel free to send me whatever I could, you know, piggyback on you and try that down here, as well as you, Reverend Mitchell. I appreciate you in the school system, and I would say elementary would be a good place to start too.
I would say preschool.
Well, yeah, that, because they're at home. Because I taught in PG County for 50, and I taught at those schools you mentioned. And had that been accessible when I first found out, I think it would have helped a lot of kids, because a lot of people are positive and don't know. But continue. Thank you for doing that for the kids.
And please, everyone share their contact information in the chat so that we can exchange information. Now, Wes, you the best.
It's Maggie.
Well, they say you say the best
Can I say
for the
something?
last.
Miss Maggie, can I say something? It's Tony. It's Tony. If you reach out to Gilead Pharmaceuticals,
yes,
they have community liaisons, and I'm not sure off the top of my head who is the person in Atlanta, but they have community liaisons in each jurisdiction of this country who speak on self-imaging and healthy sexual or sex positivity. And so they have cute little, in fact, I've got a little rolling dice. It has different questions. It may not be sexual content, but it starts a conversation. Because before we could talk to HIV for young folks, we got to talk about pregnancy, STIs, how to say no, what no means no.
Yeah, the other thing too is that we have to establish trust.
Yeah.
Yes. You got to meet them where they are.
But they are very resourceful, and they give a lot of financial support and programs that make sense. And because that rate of infection for young people is between 13 and 25, people of color, you're in the South, it may be just a matter of writing a nice little letter and getting some dollars to support your program.
Yay, let's all pray for that she does that, and that she gets the money to expand in Atlanta. I keep saying Atlanta because I love Atlanta. Wes.
Yes.
I'm sorry that we didn't mean to make you laugh.
The mail. You shut the mail out completely.
No, we didn't. You know, we love you so much. Wes, I've been knowing for years. Whenever you see a picture floating around of me and Algero and another young lady, Wes, we were all backstage at the Kennedy Center.
Yes, indeed.
with Al Jarreau, because I
Well,
was a groupie.
let me say this. I am a long-term survivor. I've been living with the virus for 35 years. This August will be 35 years. 20 years, the first 20 years, I didn't take any medicine. I stood on God's word. Because God, they say many are called, but few are many are chosen, but few are called, or however they go. I've been handpicked to do this work. Clearly, Reverend Dana knows, man, the drugs, the whole 9 yards. I walked away from some things because I heard God say, I'm gonna make you a fisherman of men. And so I'm still here. Oh man, I heard Angie say something about NCAN. Do you know I was one of the original members of National Catholic AIDS Network? You know, I've done a lot of work that I don't toot my own horn for, but I'm a wealth of information when it comes to HIV and AIDS. And one of the reasons why, because I get butt naked. I tell people who I am. I've educated students at Howard University, the PA assistants, the physical assistants, people, just all over AU. I'm a bisexual man, and you can't tell that, you know. And no one is really talking about men who sleep with men who sleep with women, you know. I tell my story. I get honest, you know. I didn't expect to be here. I thought in 2 years I'll be gone, you know. I'm working with an initiative called Amen, Aiding Mentoring Education Network. And I call it dirty talk, talking about enlightenment. If you enlighten, then there's a chance of a transformation and a wholeness can come out of that. See, if I walk around and don't get tested, don't know my status, that's one of the things we got to teach. Everybody need to know their status. You need to know your status. Y'all talked about this love thing. Love me. For these last 35 years, I've learned to love. Why? As much as I want to be in love, not there yet. Not there. At 66 years old, I have not been in a healthy relationship, and I know that because of some of the things in my past. You know, I've been in therapy for at least 20 years, and don't know when I'm gonna stop because I'm learning every day. Every day I'm learning something I didn't see about me or didn't know about me. You know, I believe that behavior, education and behavior. If you educate me, well, Dana said it earlier. My mother at 13 threw some condoms on the table. At 13, she said, "Do you know what they are?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "You know why I'm giving them to you?" I said, "Yes." She said, "So that you don't get make no babies, and you don't catch no STDs." Straight up. 13. I had my first child when I was 16. My mother died when I was 16. I had my second child when I was 17. So I didn't pay attention to all that information, you know. But people talk about a cure for HIV. I've been talking about a healing. I joined the HIV ministry at St. Augustine's. And I'm telling you, I don't rock through the storm many times and many nights and asking God, why me? And he said, why not you? You know, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. You have to tell the truth and shame the devil. Tell the truth and shame the devil. That's one of my things. Tell the truth and shame the devil. You know, I put me out there. I put me out there. You know, I've lost so many friends. And not only friends, so many strangers, people that I've met during the course of my HIV ministry. My HIV ministry didn't just stop after I stopped being the chairman. I thought it was. For the last 30 years, I was burnt out. Dana, I know you don't have to take a break. You know, the work we do. I've been in situations where I was in treatment with, you know, recovery, and they brought people in to talk about HIV, and they was giving out the wrong information. They were saying anybody positive at some point gonna die. And I looked at them, I said, oh, no. That, I don't know where you got that from. But so that's why it takes people like Angie and myself and all of y'all to get it right. My mother said, if you do it right the first time, you ain't got to come back and do it again. You know, man, I'm just, I've had 2 bouts of cancer back to back. Appendix. As soon as they finished operating, got me, brought me to, they said, Mr. Ping, you got colon cancer. It took me 3 months before I had that operation because I was scared. You know what God said? God said, when you gonna do amen? I said, amen, I'm getting ready to die. He said, when you gonna do amen? So it's about being obedient. I don't want to say too much about medication because for 20 years, I didn't take no medicine. The first 20 years, I was diagnosed in 1986. I didn't start medicine until 2007. Now, I'm just going to say this and be honest. I'm standing on God's word. I ain't worried about the medicine. I take it when I take it. I do. I ain't stupid, but sometimes I remember when people was taking 60 pills 3 times a day. 60 pills 3 times a day, and I only had 3 to take. But I'm trying to tell you, just the idea of taking those 3 pills sometimes make me say, I want to give up. Just go home. He said, not yet. I've been homeless. Oh, how many times I've been homeless? But every time, God said, get up. I just want you to know I'm in charge. Oh, boy. I think we need platforms like this. This is the new thing, y'all. This is new. This is going to be what we're going to be doing for now. If you're going to reach people, we're going to have to reach them by this Zoom and stuff. St. Augustine, Union Temple, Greater Mount Calvary, St. Gabriel's. I can name about 10 organizations, man, churches back in the 80s that was doing this work, educating as much as we could. Education. I think education is key, but if we don't teach people how to use that information, put that information to work. If you tell me I've got to use a condom every time, do I know how to put it on? Do I know the correct one to get? And education starts at home. At home. My mother told me from Jump Street, had I only listened, I lost a son that I could not help. With all the work that I've been doing in HIV, I couldn't reach out and get him and give him the information because he was of a different religion that didn't believe in certain things. And he passed away. I commend each and every one of you ladies on this platform today. You giving me encouragement that I know I got to keep going now. I can't sit on my laurels and say, okay, I done my part. No, I haven't. Because there's still people out there being infected every day, especially these young kids. These young kids, man, they're invincible. I always says that you need to have a conversation with your boo before you get in bed with your boo. You need to say, boo, have you ever did anything on this side of the fence? How many people you don't have? How many diseases you don't have? You got to have that dialogue with people who get comfortable. And that's what I've been doing. I have little groups in the house, invite them over. They don't even know what they're coming for. But I tell them, I said, listen, man, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? We start engaging one another. And oh man, this thing has been devastating. All I can say, y'all, is that I'm glad that I didn't commit suicide. Because there were some times I wanted to say, It's it. God, I can't do it right. I keep falling off. I can't do what you want me to do. And God said, get up. And each time I get up, I get a little better. You know, we got to keep talking. And we got to tell the truth and shame the devil, even if the truth hurts. Even if the truth hurts. You know, I'm emotional, man, when it comes to this HIV thing. 2 bouts of cancer, depression, drug use, abuse, substance abuse, physical abuse. I waited till I got in my 50s to start getting beat up by my lover. Huh? And Denise, you know, I've always been a fighter.
I know.
I can't fight. Look, 66, I can't fight 30.
Who is this West? I'm going to get him.
Well, he gone. He's been
Okay.
gone
Me
for a while.
too.
You know, but that taught me I wasn't loving me. How did I not love me enough to say enough is enough? You know, man, we got a lot of work to do. But this is God telling us it's going to be another pandemic. After this one, after this COVID thing, will be something else. You know, I'm just going to say this. When one group is infected or affected, we all are affected. You know, this thing will knock on your door, my door, a lot of doors. And a lot of people not ready. When I first heard about HIV, I said, white man, gay disease. I don't mess with white men. And still until I start seeing people from San Francisco would come here and go back and they say, you know, he died last week. I said, what? You know, so we got a long way to go, man. And once we get over this hurdle, it's going to be something else. You know, the key is how do we get, you said something about the seniors. Oh yeah, the seniors are, the rates are going up. You know, the women infected, you know. So we don't hear the stories about those little women in Virginia back in the day when their husbands came over and went on 14th Street and went back home and took that thing back home with them. Back then they had private doctors, you know. So the stigma, you know, when people first saw my first appearance on television was American Black Forum when I went and told my story to Janet Langhart and Julian Barnes. And I remember the first time I realized, I said, wait a minute, I done went on television and told these people I'm HIV positive. Plus, and I'm smoking crack. Oh, Lord. And let me back up for a second. My shepherd, I remember when I cried out for a shepherd. I said, Lord, I need a shepherd. I ain't never cried out before. He said, get on the X2 bus and go to 1330 H Street. I said, what? Okay, I'm going to do that. When I get over there, it was Calvin A. Beauty Academy. I said, God, what is this? I didn't ask to go to beauty school. He said, go through the door. Well, Dr. Clark was my shepherd. That was the woman. Ooh. Madam C.J. Walker, she is to me, you know. And I mentioned that because it took people like that, Dana. It took people like Damien Ministry. Let's go back to ICANN. Inner City AIDS Network. Oh God.
Benita, Alan
Come on,
Cephas,
yes.
Juicy.
Ron Simmons.
Yes.
What's his Us Helping Us.
That's Ron.
All these places, man, has got me where I'm at today. Because the first thing I had to do was get educated. I had to get educated about the virus. How was it transmitted? How do you get it? I mean, you know, boom. And we did intense classes. We had intense, it was education that kept me alive. There was 3 years you couldn't touch me. When I first found out, you couldn't touch me. Oh, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm like, hold up. But that's how devastated I was. Now I can, look, I had to educate my extended family. We had a new baby come in and I'm holding a new baby, right? And I heard the grandmother say, "Get that baby from him." And I said, "What? Y'all not gonna do this to me." So I educated them. I bought them tapes in. I bought those things and papers and pamphlets. Man, we got a lot of work to do. But I just want to say, listen, whatever you need from me, I'm available. You know, Dana, I know I need to get in contact with you because like I say, my amen is dirty talk. I heard you got straight talk. Mine is dirty talk. Being able to get, you know, the more I tell you about me, the more you might say, I've been there. I heard my story in a recovery room when I heard somebody talk about being abandoned. I said, abandoned? My mother ain't never abandoned me. Yes, she did. She gave me up a couple times. She sent me to my godmother's house. You know, can y'all see me?
No.
No.
What did I do wrong?
Something fell.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see if this is it. Unmute. Can you see me now?
Okay, we started to see that. Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. But I'm just, you know, I'm just so, I'm so just, it's a good feeling to be a part of this because somebody will be touched. You know.
Wes, I think you have two.
Yeah, the phone and the.
Yes,
How do I cut it? Wait a minute.
And then people are calling me. Let me cut this thing off. Anyway,
listen, ladies. I'm gonna give my information. If you need anything from me, I'm available. That's enough out of me.
Okay, Wes, I will definitely be.
Maggie, let me say this, please. I love you and I appreciate you. And when you brought up the bisexual piece, every now and then I look at the statistics in terms of HIV infection. And I get pissed off when I see that African Americans are at the top of the list and we're supposed to be 12, 13% of the population. And then when I look at the number of women who are infected, I'm like, how are these women getting infected? And most of them think that they're heterosexual women. And when you mention the men who have sex with men, it just words can't express the feelings that I have around that, and how we don't have the conversations that we need to have, honest conversations before we have sex about who else you're having sex with.
And who you had sex with?
Yes, and so on and so on.
I
tell people like this.
If you don't marry somebody, you need to know about the credit history, the credit report, all that got to be taken in consideration.
I got too much going on, so this is messing up. But thank you. As you can see, God is not finished with none of us.
Yes. And we need to learn and let people know that you don't die from HIV. So many people are scared to go get that. You're going to go get the HIV test. That means death. You don't die from HIV. You die from the complications of HIV, which is AIDS. So if people would just educate, that's the whole thing. We don't get things because it's in a book. But it's no reason why, you know, people are not, well, I guess a lot of people are not putting out information because we have all these social medias and chit chat, TikTok, so whatever all those things are, you know, I'm learning them. But we need to really push this platform as for HIV and AIDS right now, just as much as they pushing this COVID right now, because people are going to start dying from AIDS at an alarming rate if they don't go get their status checked as it is with COVID. So because imagine you have HIV, you have AIDS on top of COVID, and you know, if you known about your HIV status before it turned into AIDS, you could have been on the arts or been on the medications or whatever. I just think, you know, and I need to do more now that I'm able to reach out, because you got to meet people where they are. So now I'm in. I know some of these people. I tell you, I would not know these people down here. They like to bang bang, shoot them up. Mm-hmm. And I don't know these places. I stay in my lane, but the breakthrough I have is at the homeless shelter and meeting people where they are, and they don't. After you gain, and you can gain a homeless person's trust, and caring and sincerity. I mean, it ain't gotta be no fake, because they're fake, no fake, and game, no game. But when you meet them, or just, you never know, that person could just be homeless, but actually they just, and a lot of them be fake like they are. And then you can meet other people, it's just like a stepping stone. And after 5 years, I'm just really stepping to meet that other side, the community that so many doctors and scientists up here are talking about. Okay, go into the community. And I keep saying, no disregard to you, brother, but they're only speaking about the gay men as far as HIV, but it's not that. And it's a lot of organizations and platforms that really cater to that. But I want the brother to come out who's not. Give me that thug guy that's out there, that's positive, that don't mind telling the other guys, because more people that pick up and piggyback on what somebody else is. See, because people move like dominoes, okay, I'm gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Oh, well, this movie star is doing it, so I'm gonna do that, and it's crazy, but we trickle down like that. And we really need to start kind of find a way to trickling down education on HIV and AIDS, while it's at the forefront with this COVID, because we could beat this. The cure is know your status to start off.
And the other thing is, Wes touched on education, and he mentioned a lot of the older organizations. What I can see is it's almost like we need to start over from scratch, because so many people are no longer educated as to how you even get AIDS. And it may sound funny, or it may sound unbelievable, but I think that we need to build educational blocks. The first starting out with the basic information. Seniors, I wonder, as a senior, would I, having suppose I lived another type of life, suppose I was never a substance abuse, would I, as a senior, know about HIV? Would I care? And would I have the education to know how I could get it? Suppose I'm a senior in a senior home. Do they have the education? And the young people, before there was a big push for education. Wes was talking about Ron's organization. I remember Ron had workshops at various houses where peer counselors would go in. I don't know what they talked about, but I know that there was a lot of education early on. Do we need to go back? How can we go back? It's with the Zoom, we can definitely reach more people, but then there will still be certain people left out. We still may be left out, the homeless people. But we have to begin, I think, from square A. Maybe not as much as we did in the past, but we need to have the basic understanding of HIV, its transmission, and the dangers. Because see, there's so many medications out now that's like, okay, if I get it, I take whatever. But why even feel that way? Why even be so lackadaisical in the way that you conduct yourself and in your behavior to not even care if you get it? And not to say not care, but say, I can live with it.
Right.
But you never know how people living with it, some of the things and challenges that they really go through.
Right. And like they have PrEP now for that. They have PrEP, and they have U equals U. Like I've been undetected probably like 10 years. And being that my viral load is so low, if I have unprotected sex with someone, I cannot pass that to them. But the downfall from that is I don't know what they got.
Clearly. Right.
So therefore, it gives false perception of, okay, yeah, a person who's, I don't want them to, okay, well, yeah, I can't pass it on and just go and have unprotected sex. Because no one really, I mean, I'm used to it. I don't care about it. It's just something going on with the diabetes and asthma and everything else, But they'll be like, oh, I can have sex with somebody. I don't need to wear a condom. No, you still always need to wear a condom because you do not know what that person has. They can contract something to you that you don't have because they don't know.
And now there are two types of preps. I think I learned that last year. I didn't know that. Sharon, there's one like.
So there is PrEP. That's where you protect beforehand. But there is a medicine called PEP.
Right, that's after.
Exposed, but you have a 72-hour window to take the medication for the next 20 days to prevent. It's like almost like the morning after type situation.
I am so glad I had my fun when I had it. Because this right here is too much to consider.
I also want to say something. It's not about people who have had different bad behavior, different walks of life. It could be just someone who was vulnerable, loved, and trusted the wrong person.
Exactly.
Oh no, I understand that, but I was just highlighting, my particular experience and how I know that behaviors for a crackhead is going to be different behavior, even though I was brought up well. But
Absolutely.
Something triggered something in me that got me on a different path. So I'm not saying that, because Sister Carolyn has a good friend who was I think a Delta or college graduate or whatever. So I know that it can happen to anyone.
It can happen to
Not
anyone.
so much as the person that is out here doing something different, but the person that is quote unquote being a goody two shoes.
And so I think
so it can affect anything, just like COVID. So yeah, I'm definitely aware.
Even in our messaging, when we talk to people, we must make sure we change our conversation to make it so that we're not degrading one group of people.
Right.
Because on this level.
Okay.
It's anybody who's sexually active, whether it be a young person experimenting at 9 years old or younger, a person born with it, not knowing because parents haven't told them as of yet, or a senior citizen person who lost a spouse for 40, 50 years, but they're still wanting that physical touch.
Or a cheating husband.
Or everything in between. Everything in between.
Yeah, so that's why I was touched on, but what is the messaging? How do we gear our messaging nowadays to not only draw people in, but to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and not feel singled out? Is there, how can we tailor messaging?
Well, this is how you practice your art of conversation. You have to know your audience. You have to be transparent and authentic in your approach. And then allow them to trust you enough for them to share, and then you build from that.
Like Salt and Pepper say, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
Get it, Sister Carolyn.
Hey. Yes. We got to talk about sex. This couch conversation was so awesome. I want to commend all of the speakers. You all were amazing. But I got to tell you, Brother Wesley, you really came on point because more than 16 years ago, when we first had our first meeting at the New Carrollton Library about HIV and AIDS, I had some dynamic women in the church that came, and we had a brother that was living on the down low telling us what to look out for. And let me tell you, they blasted me. They talked about that. They said we would never come to any of those meetings. You call yourself a Christian? What kind of woman are you, ma'am? And they never came back. They talked bad about me, but I was just trying to educate the community. And this was 16 years ago, and I did lose a dear friend. She wasn't a soror, but she was a classmate. She was an educated woman. But I talk to women now about SOS and what we're doing, and these are educated women with multiple degrees, a lot of intelligentsias, big old houses, Mercedes-Benz, and Range Rovers, and all the in between. And they said, "What? AIDS is still out? I thought that was gone." What? Yes, they think that there are no more cases of HIV/AIDS
and STIs. They don't understand that. They're thinking just because he's suited up don't mean he's clean.
Can I jump in right here? And I think that's what I was trying to allude to earlier when I spoke. It's like, unfortunately, this society is driven by media. It's driven by celebrities and people that people think have influence. And unless that information is brought to that level, whether it's a celebrity or it's a media, a lot of times it falls underneath the radar. And I feel like it is important for organizations and groups like this to keep it alive. It's almost like the reason why I keep going to Africa is I feel like if I don't go anymore, the story is not going to be told. If I don't take young girls, the story is going to get lost. It's going to get left. So I feel like it's the same thing with this topic. It's like you have to reinvent it again and again and again for the oncoming generations, for the oncoming knowledge and understanding that you have, the senior homes. You know, who's talking about that? I remember doing a paper in college when I was getting my degree, and I did a paper on STDs in the senior centers, and I was shocked because nobody was talking about how they were being affected by and not educated by STDs or having sex at their age and how it was going to affect them. So I just think that a new campaign has to be created, and it needs to kind of speak to, it can't be the same campaign you did a while back.
Right.
It has to be reinvented for the new generations. So you have to get the younger people involved. You have to get the older people involved. They have to now become the messengers because they're the ones that are affected.
Absolutely. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think, Sister Carol, in our next couch conversations, I'm going to have to procure and really find some young people and some seniors along with our core group.
And we
so
need
that we can know, get an idea what messaging is going to resonate with them, and what is the best way to get that messaging to them. That was very, very key, Tony. Thank you.
Yes, Tony.
And Wes, we definitely gonna be having you back.
Yes, Wes. I need to link up with you, Wes.
Well, the way I see it, I think we need to have all of you back to help us with that messaging, because there was so much that we learned today. But one of the things that I am doing right now, because I know we've gone over time, we respect your Saturday, is the door prizes for today. And I'm asking everybody, Maggie's address is in the chat, because we've got at least 15 gifts that we don't have addresses for, and that's not good. So we're asking you to please get in touch with Maggie. So Maggie, I'm going to pick the winners. Anthony, can you show the great gifts that we're going to give away, please? This is a token gift that we're giving away. The first winner is Dana Mitchell. Dana Mitchell, The Price is Right. You are the first winner.
Yay, Dana!
Today, which is a beautiful gift on behalf of Sisters for Sisters Inc. And if you're tuning in and if you won any awards with us or any door prizes, please reach out to us and give us your mailing address. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Sharon's been waiting since World AIDS Day. That sister has never given me her address. Second winner is Chanel Calhoun. Yay, Chanel Calhoun, congratulations. You are the next winner. Anthony, can we see the gift of the SOS pillow? It was not a pillow, but the scarf. And we want to thank the artist for the scarf. And then we have another gift.
Wes, the Scorpius did the scarves.
I love that.
Yes, we need the scarf.
We need the mask.
Do you all see it?
No, I don't.
No, we don't see it. The third one is going to be an Amazon gift card, so we don't have to mail it, but you got to contact us. Please, please, please. And that's Connie Russell Gorm.
Yay, Connie!
Connie Russell Gorm, you are the third winner for today's SOS Black HIV/AIDS day. And we've been doing this for years, but today was very special. It's like we set a foundation. Maggie, as always, I'm giving you love and flowers, but we'll get something to you. And I do have your address. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We love you. We thank you for hosting this outstanding couch conversation. And we thank you. For those that wore red yesterday, quickly, I can tell you we had 3 winners for the Wear Red, and they were Mary Talbert, Gayla Howard, and Trina Harmon. So you all are 3 winners who won yesterday for your Wear Red, and I have your addresses too. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Maggie,
send their addresses to me.
Yes,
Let me
I
start
got
keeping some addresses.
Yeah. I want to thank you, Maggie. I want to thank all of our esteemed guests for being on. You all have really presented some great insight, great platforms. And I want to, on a side note, thank us all for coming together as a community to heal our community. It's the only way we're going to win is if we help one another. And you know something, Sister Tony, I haven't seen you in decades, and you might not remember me, but I sponsored several girls to go to Ghana many years ago at Union Temple Baptist Church. So I appreciate you. And Sharon Weekly, I'm calling her to help me feed some of the families in our community. Sharon, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody for everything you're doing to help our community grow stronger and heal. Maggie?
I want to say thank you, first of all, to Sisters for giving me a platform to do the work that I know God has set me out here to do. And I want to thank everyone who consistently supports me and supports the organization so that we can continue to do our work. There are not a lot of us out here in the community really doing this. And we must stick together. We must network together. And believe me, this is not going to be the last of these conversations. As I said, I'm going to find a youth and I'm going to find me a senior besides me and Wes.
That's right.
To come on and tell us, being laypersons, just what they need to know, what they don't know. And hopefully we can start an initiative to get into these senior buildings and do workshops.
Well, let me say, I work with the DC Board of Election, and this year we wasn't able to do it because of COVID-19. We got a list of all those places, and I remember those places that we can get into.
Okay.
And talk to these seniors. And so I'm a wealth of information. So believe it or not, I'm here. Take advantage of it. All right.
All right. We're going to take advantage the good way. Okay. Well, we're going to, Reverend Dana or Tony, do you all want to pray us out? We're going to end for today. I know some of y'all are going to be getting ready for Super Bowl. I'm going to be getting ready to watch The Weeknd, but not the Super Bowl itself.
Reverend Dana she should actually end us out in prayer.
Okay.
May I say something to all of our audience as well? As we prepare for Black Love, Valentine's Day, hooking up with your boo, whatever you're trying to do, make sure you protect yourself. Make sure when you have that night celebrating love that you take care of yourself and take all the precautions. Just don't stay safe and wrap up your mouth and your nose, but wrap up yourself so you can be safe from HIV and AIDS. Thank you all so much.
Clearly. Wrap it up or either just be by yourself.
Clearly.
Choice. Sometimes being by yourself is the best.
It's safe.
Yes.
Stay safe.
But you can have a crush. You can have a crush.
Yeah.
Reverend Dane, go ahead.
Mother, Father God, we, your son and daughters, do give you thanks and praise because you're worthy from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to connect with each other. We thank you for the information that has been shared and the love that has been shared on today. And may we continue to do that. Bless us as we strive to work together on future endeavors, Lord. We just thank you for our edification on today. And we just we lift our hands up to you, saying to you that we yield so that you can have your will and have your way in us, through us, and all around us. And again, we give you thanks and praise. Ashe. Amen.
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 All right. Everyone have a good evening and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you. God bless you all, and thank you.
Girl, you and I, we fight. Together we will be alright. Come and show me your inner light. Together our future is most bright. Aren't you tired of being abused? Come and be someone no one can rule. Sisters for sisters. Sisters for sisters. Woman, I feel what you've been through. Don't say there's nothing you can do. Reach for your inner power. Let's make a better world for each other. Aren't you tired of being abused? Come and be someone no one can rule. Sisters. Girl,